Welcome to the Cover Your Assets podcast, a show for the physician who understands the importance of protecting everything you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to find the peace of mind that only financial security can bring, let's get started. Here's your host, Billy Gwaltney.
Welcome to today's episode of the Cover Your Assets podcast. I'm your host, Billy Gwaltney, and it's good to be with you as always. Today's question is one that came up from a client not long ago, which is it okay to cancel my private specialty disability policy? That's an interesting question. They've been an attending for a while, so there are probably a number of things that were coming across their mind to trigger that question. And so we had a discussion and just want to kind of go through some of that with you here today. So is it okay to cancel your disability policy? Well, first, walking away is certainly an option. This is not a mortgage. Your private specialty policy, as long as you pay the premium, the insurance carrier cannot walk away. They can't cancel it. They can't change anything. They can't raise your rate. You, however, as a policyholder, can walk away by simply not paying the premium. There's no penalty for that. It doesn't hit your credit. There's nothing there. But it is a once and forever kind of decision. So some things you want to consider before you do it, because once you do it, you can't undo it. You would have to start over if you wanted coverage later with new medical underwriting. The trainee discounts wouldn't be there if you're no longer a trainee. And it can just be more complicated than you might think. So a few things to consider that I shared with my client and want to share with you. I work with thousands of physicians across the country that are, each of our client has their own unique situation that they're thinking about and kind of navigating life from a financial standpoint and family standpoint. And so walking away or canceling a disability policy does have some pitfalls to it. The first one is that most people's health does not improve as they get older. As we age, maybe our health stays the same, at least for a while, but very often it's going to decline over time. We just get weaker, more brittle, we break easier, we have illnesses. You as a physician, you know that. And so it's safe to say that our health doesn't usually improve as we get older. Okay, so the chances of a disability for someone in their 50s is essentially the same as someone in their 30s or 40s. So just because you're not running as much or working out as aggressively or maybe traveling as much or whatever the scenario might be as you get older, thinking that you don't need this stuff, statistically that doesn't bear out. The second thing to consider is that self-insuring, which is what you're doing if you don't have private insurance, you're just going to use your own assets from yourself to cover any expenses. They call that self-insuring. From a financial standpoint, it's absolutely brutal during a time of a claim. There are several reasons why. One is expenses go up during a claim. Two, most people's assets, as they build assets over the course of their career, not all, but a significant percentage of those assets are in retirement accounts that are tax advantaged, which means they have penalties if you take them out too soon. There are taxes when you take them out. And if you sell at a time when the market is down or fluctuating, you can end up walking away with less money than had you not had to sell. Also, real estate and other assets, if you're liquidating those assets, there can be penalties, and anything we do in a hurry can lead to some unwise decisions. And so you're talking about taking assets that oftentimes are taxed, oftentimes are penalized, depending on the market conditions, can be sold for a loss or at a lower value than otherwise they would have been. And then using that money to pay expenses that are increasing. Compared to insurance, where it is specifically designed to cover those expenses, the benefits are typically received without tax if you're talking about private specialty disability coverage. If the premium is paid with after-tax funds, then the benefit is received without tax. And it's also systematic. It shows up on the same day every month. You know the amount. You can plan on it. You can budget around it. And so if you've done the planning properly, then hopefully you have enough insurance to still fund retirement, to take care of medical expenses, hopefully, and to allow you to not have to tap into those assets that you've spent a lot of time building up, and not have to be penalized and accept more money or accept less money than you would have otherwise been able to get had you been able to ride it out to use it when you had planned on using it originally. The next thing is that when it comes to your assets, when we think about assets, your most important asset, your most valuable asset is not your retirement account. It's not your house. It's not your real estate portfolio. It is you. It is your ability as a surgeon, radiologist, pediatrician, whatever your specialty is, your ability to get out of bed and go perform at a high level this specialty that your employer is paying you a good wage to do. And your family has gotten used to getting a paycheck from this asset from a financial standpoint every 2 weeks or every twice a month or monthly, however frequently you get paid. And that is your most important asset. If you do an analysis of determining the value of that asset over the entirety of your career, it's a big number. So ensuring your most valuable asset is just smart business. I mean, if you talk to Warren Buffett, if you talk to anybody that's made a lot of money in business or those kind of things, if you say, do you insure your most valuable assets? And they would say, absolutely. The smart ones would. Warren Buffett liked it so much that he bought an insurance company, Berkshire, because he believes that much in insurance. He doesn't need the insurance from a financial standpoint necessarily, but it's just smart to take pennies to pay dollars to cover expenses versus taking $1 or more to try to pay that dollar when you're self-insuring. So there are a number of things to factor into this. Another thing that a lot of people will tend to assume if they're thinking about getting rid of their insurance is that they just basically don't think they're ever going to need it. And so why waste the money? And that, hopefully it is wasted money. Hopefully you don't need it. But if you do, all of our clients that are on claim were healthy enough, or at least healthy-ish, healthy enough to get the insurance when they got it. Okay. They never thought they would need it, but they ended up using it. Over 90% of claims are illnesses, not injuries. So it's usually not the catastrophic car accident that does it, although those things certainly happen. Statistically, over 90% are illnesses. The biggest percentage are musculoskeletal conditions. So you hurt your back, you can't get out of bed, you can do telemedicine, but you can't do your day-to-day duties that you were doing before you hurt your back. So are you now disabled? If you've done your disability insurance correctly and you have the true specialty coverage with one of the top 4 carriers, then you are going to get paid if your doctor says you can't do your specialty because of that injury or illness. And then you have the freedom to go earn money doing something different. It is very naive at best, putting it mildly, to assume that if you can't do surgery, you could just do clinic and still make as much money. Or if you can't do interventional cardiology, you could just slot in and be a general cardiologist because the only disability that's going to occur to you is you're going to chop off your hand. That statistically, that's not what happens. We do have clients that earn money doing other things while they're on claim because they have the freedom to do it and it doesn't impact their disability benefit. But none of them ever did it right away. When a disability occurs, it is a gut punch. It takes time, months, sometimes years, before someone can maneuver enough to be able to go do something else and earn income. It is incredibly valuable to have a disability policy that gives you the freedom to go do that and doesn't require you to do that. But if your expectation is that if a disability occurs, you can just go do something else in medicine, again, that's naive at best. Some might call it foolish. It's just not an advisable approach when it comes to the security of your family and when it comes to just smart business, which is ensuring your most important asset. Again, we have clients on claim. The good news is that every single one of our clients on claim has gotten paid. We've never had we don't have any clients that had to hire an attorney. We have none that were in some kind of arbitration. They all get paid. The majority of them never get paid from their employer policy. So again, another fallacy can be, well, I don't need my private policy because I'm now at an employer that has a policy. The chances of getting paid from that are not nearly as high as from your private policy. I can't overstate that. I've done a dozen podcasts on the gaps in employer group long-term disability policies. They just don't pay out in the majority of claims. And if they do pay out, they're going to fight you tooth and nail. You will likely need to lawyer up. You will likely need to stay on top of that because they're going to require you to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop. We've seen it up close, and so counting on an employer policy to help you if you're disabled and be the only thing you rely on, again, is just not it's not smart business. Private specialty coverage, if your plan A doesn't work out, which is you have a long, successful career, hopefully that is what happens. But if that doesn't work out, your plan B needs to be really strong. And the strongest plan B is a well-designed private specialty disability policy. Then the assets you've accumulated can continue to be utilized for what they're originally intended for, which is retirement, other things that you want to do. So the only complaint we've ever gotten from a client that's on claim is they should have had the maximum because their expenses did go up. Expenses do go up. We have had one client in particular who didn't have the maximum. She was disabled for 2 years, was healthy as could be, never bothered to increase her coverage, got cancer, significant cancer. She bounced back from it because she was very healthy. She went back to work, and the first thing she did when she was eligible to do it was increase her coverage to the max. If you've done your policy correctly, you'll still be able to do that. But you can't increase once you're on claim. So that's why you got to make sure that you have your policy in place and then have the maximum coverage before the claim occurs so that you're not stuck with a uh-oh type of scenario. So bottom line, can you cancel your policy? Yes. Is it advisable to cancel your policy? No. I haven't seen a scenario yet where it made sense. And last thing I'll say, even if you do cancel your policy, the $200 or $300 or $400 or $500, whatever it is that you're saving, that's likely just going to sit in your checking account anyway. Okay. It's not like, you can say, well, I'm going to invest it. Well, most people don't invest their last $300 in their checking account. Okay. So if you have whatever you have in your checking account, the money that was going to pay for the disability coverage is just sitting there, literally doing nothing. Versus, yes, the insurance company has it. They can make a profit on it. Yes, the disability broker gets a small percentage of that. But I would say this, whether I'm the broker or not, pay for the private disability policy. Let it do what it's supposed to do. You won't regret it. If you're disabled, you will realize that it was the best, smartest thing you did from a standpoint of protecting yourself. And I do hope all my clients don't need it. I hope you end up at 65 going, well, I just wasted that money. But if you've planned correctly, I doubt it's going to keep you from retiring. It's not going to affect where your kids go to college. So just do the smart thing and keep it. Take it for what it's worth. I hope you found this helpful. I would be happy to discuss your situation in more detail. Love doing that. Feel free to text me at 704-270-2376. Again, 704-270-2376. Hope you found this helpful. Looking forward to talking with you on the next episode. Thank you as always for your time.
Thanks for listening to the Cover Your Assets podcast, an Odd Conduit media production. New episodes drop every 2 weeks. If you've enjoyed the conversation, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. For more tips and advice, visit the website and YouTube channel. Check the show notes for links. Join us next time for another episode dedicated to helping physicians like you get your disability insurance right and protect your way of life.